Cool. Well, Deeb, you've mentioned history a little bit here, so let's dive in. Let's learn because I know that the Masters is the biggest golf event of the year, and for many, the biggest or one of the top five sporting events in the whole year. But I don't know why. So let's dive into the history a little bit here. What can you tell us about the Masters event? And both of you will be teaching me a lot here.
Yeah, so we got a nice little master's history lesson where we're just kind of go over some, general concepts and things of people who maybe are not familiar or may not know this. And this a lot of the stuff, honestly, I learned as well. It's not like, I'm an expert and I like had all these memorized. So, the golf course was founded in Augusta. The Masters was founded in 1934. It was founded by a gentleman named Bobby Jones. He was a legendary amateur golfer, and Clifford Roberts. So those two individuals came together, and I think they developed what's now known as the Masters. The course that they play at is called Augusta National. So it's an Augusta National Golf Club in Augusta, Georgia. And the architect, I know some people are really into that, is Alistair McKenzie. And apparently he designed it with Bobby Jones. So they kind of tag teamed the design of it. Why does it matter? Why is the Masters such a big deal, and why is playing at Augusta, so interesting? Well, one of the key reasons is that the Masters is always played at Augusta. So it has always been played at this course. So it's the consistency and that tradition. So the other majors that happen in the PGA Tour, they will rotate courses. So they're not always they may be played at the same course eventually, but it's not the same exact course every single year. And so this is really the one that's, there and consistent every single year. So the other interesting part, which is super iconic, is the green jacket. So, that's really what you'll see as like the major icon of when you win the Masters, you get what's called the green jacket. That was actually started in 1949 by Sam Snead. He was the very first winner to receive a green jacket. And so he's kind of, tagged as like the first green jacket guy, right? And so if you look up pictures and stuff, I don't know if maybe they have pictures of him, but maybe I don't know if they were in color or not. You'd have to. I don't know if 1949 they probably had color by then. But anyways, basically what the green jacket is it's a symbol. It means that you are part of one of golf's most executive clubs. You've won basically pretty much like the Super Bowl of golf. Essentially, is how they deem it. And you're a Masters champion. You're going to go down in history with all the other people who have won the Masters. The other interesting part is that the winner gets to keep the green jacket for 1 year, and then they have to return to the clubhouse, which I didn't actually know that. So I'm curious. And Andrew, you can let me know what your thoughts are on this. So is it the jacket that they win, they have to return? Because like obviously when you see the people at like the dinner and all that stuff, like they have a green jacket. So I was kind of confused as to like, do they get another jacket and it's just the one that was won is passed along? That was a little bit confusing to me.
Yeah, so they get to wear their green jacket outside of Augusta for a year. So you get to bring it home, keep it in the closet,
Yeah.
and then there's a winner's locker room that only the winners can be in, whether they're older and they're just there for the champions dinner, or whether they are use that locker room throughout the tournament. So they're allowed to wear it anytime that they're on premise. So if they go back and visit, or if you'll commonly see after Sunday when the winner's going up towards the clubhouse, you'll see a bunch of other players wearing green jackets, and that's previous winners. And it's their jacket. Of course, they probably will change the size as they get larger over time, whenever they get older, I'm sure. But and then everyone else who's wearing a green jacket that you see are members. So members are allowed to wear green jackets too. And then one other thing with the green jacket is that there's a green jacket ceremony that's done, and the previous champion puts on the new green jacket for the new player. So,
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What will happen this year if Scotty wins 2 years in a row? I believe the president of the Masters will put it on him, so he's not going to put the jacket on himself.
They'll have a drone put it on him or something.
Yeah.
That would be kind of funny. Well, the other thing that's really interesting about Augusta and the Masters is there's just so many historic moments that have happened, right? And I mean, from like Jack Nicklaus winning when he was 46 years old to the very first time Tiger won in 97, which was like a shock, it was like he was kind of up and coming. Of course, the, more recent Tiger win in 2019, where it's like everyone was counting him out. He got hurt. There was no way. I mean, there's just so many historic moments that were either have happened or have been broadcasted and have just had like amazing moments that have been captured via broadcast. So um what would you say is your favorite or maybe most iconic historic moment that either you've seen personally or that you've read or maybe seen like highlights of?
Yeah, to me, it has to be 2019 with Tiger Woods coming back and winning. Um, After all the tumultuous times he's had, after the many years of being off of golf, for whatever reason, um, and then coming back to win that, uh, was it was nice to see Tiger. He wasn't dominant, but to win again. Because I used to not be a fan of Tiger because he'd win every single time.
Yeah.
But then once he went through all of his hard times, then I was the biggest Tiger fan ever. Um, but yeah, so that's huge to me. And then the Greg Norman loss, where he had a 6-stroke lead, and ended up losing by 5 by the end of Sunday. So 11-stroke difference between him and Nick Faldo. That's just brutal. But that's why there's never a lead that's safe. Besides like Tiger Woods, who won by whenever he was young at 21 years old, he won by I don't even know, a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, the Tiger one is super iconic. And it's weird because he went from being like the best player in the sport to now then in like a underdog story, right? And I feel like that's where people were rooting for him. Like he is no longer the, arguably he was no longer the top guy at that time. And it was like he's gone through so much. And it was really like that underdog story, which I feel like people relate to and or root for. So I got to also, I'm repping the Sunday Red I
Nice.
know he's not playing because he's hurt, but I had to rep it for the golf tonight.
Nice. Well, and I was going to mention that as someone who has been so casual over the years, obviously there are names that you recognize, and I think we all probably recognize Tiger as probably the greatest of all time in golf. I know our intro video is me saying, "Oh, he's definitely the GOAT." Um, but it is a shame, because you don't know how much longer you have of getting to watch Tiger Woods play golf. And so to hear that he won't be playing this year, I think he had an Achilles injury, right? Was that what it
Yeah.
was? It's a
Yep.
horrible injury to have. And he had an April Fool's joke. I don't know if you guys saw that, where he said something about that he was going to be playing. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
just it's really tough to let go of the greats. So it's really tough to see them not able to perform at events like this when they're still able to at least somewhat compete. I know he's very much an underdog these days.
Yeah. Definitely. Couple other quick things, some records. So, who holds the most wins for Masters victories? It's actually Jack Nicklaus at 6. So, that's another one, Scott, that gets thrown out there as arguably the greatest of all time. So, I think some people would put Tiger as actually second, just kind of depending on, wins and majors and all this. So,
Those are
Tiger,
the
I think.
people who discredit LeBron James's success and only look at championships.
Well, I think Jack has, what is it, 3 more majors, right? Was it Andrew? 3 more. I think he's at 18 major wins, and Tiger has 15. And yeah, there's a lot of statistics we could get into, but the youngest player to ever win it is actually Tiger Woods. He was 21. I thought it was Jordan Spieth, but I did look this up to fact check. The Spieth was also 21, but it was like I think Tiger was like a couple months younger if you like break down the dates. So he was the youngest to win it. The lowest score ever, -20, which is crazy. If you see what the final score usually is, was Dustin Johnson in 2020. No fans, COVID year, kind of a weird experience there too. So, and then the most consecutive wins goes to Nick Faldo and Tiger Woods, who have won it back to back. So they're the only 2 players that have won back to back Masters.
Can I ask a question that was not something on my radar?
Yeah.
But what does that do to you to win the championship like that with such a dominant score in a year where there's just no one there, right? Like no crowd, no aura, no big celebration. Like do you feel like that doesn't? Do you think that takes away from the accomplishment and how like? Obviously, it's not the same. Does it significantly alter that feeling of accomplishment, or does it really not matter at the end of the day?
I don't think it does. This is the one tournament that the patrons or the fans, should we go by patrons, are important, but they're not as important to any other tournament just because the Masters is available everywhere for free actually through their app. So it's I don't think it takes too much away from it. I think it was just an oddity that it happened to be that was the lowest score. Um, Dustin Johnson was also a very long hitter, which long hitters, if they hit it straight, have a very big advantage on this course. Main word is if they hit it straight. And that's really the reason why and there was no wind the entire tournament. It was flat, no wind at all. Compared to most times at the Masters, you have at least one round where the average score is over par. There wasn't for that tournament.
Well, at least if there was no wind, then there probably wasn't a whole lot of contact exposure with COVID-19 going on there.
Yeah, very. I didn't actually watch it that year because I wasn't into golf and wasn't really into watching golf as much. But I've seen kind of pictures and stuff, and it's a little bit eerie. It is eerie to see like them playing and there's no fans because a lot of the iconic pictures you see, usually do have the fans in there. So the last couple things that we want to talk about are, we'll just really go over, I think, a couple of these traditions that matter at the Masters. So we do have what's called the Champions Dinner, and I'm going to actually show a screenshot of this year's Champions Dinner. But Andrew, you want to talk a little bit about what is the Champions Dinner and why is it so important?
Yeah, so every Tuesday night, the current champion from the year before gets to host a dinner for all the previous champions. So it's typically revolves around whatever their favorite foods are, except the fanciest version of that food. So this is Scotty's dinner here, which they're having actually tomorrow night on Tuesday. And cheeseburger sliders, firecracker shrimp, and then Papa Chef, which I'm pretty sure is his dad, as meatball and ravioli bites. And then Texas style chili. And then so we can talk, which one would you rather have, the wood-fired cowboy ribeye or a black and red fish for your main?
Ooh, I'm a steak guy. I like salmon or I like fish, but I got to go with the steak.
Yeah, I think living on the coast now, the seafood is better than I used to live in the Midwest where it didn't really come from anywhere locally sourced, but steak all day for me. I'm going with the ribeye as well.
Yeah, as would I. Fish is always great, and I'm sure it's the best fish possible there, but I'd rather have the best steak possible, I think. And then the best thing on the entire meal, warm chocolate chip skillet cookie. Just a nice skillet with a cookie inside. Ooh. I mean, you can't beat that.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
But the champions dinner's had some issues in the past because it was whenever Live and PGA split. It was the first time that the PGA and Live golfers came back together. And there were claims that Phil was going to like climb over the table and fight the PGA guys and all this crazy stuff because Jack was big time against to Live at that time. And there were some stories, but nothing really came out. So it can be pretty interesting.
Yeah. And that would be so cool if you think about it, just to be able to like go back every year if you're if you're a champion and just like share that. Like it's a great networking event. You get a cool meal. I don't know. It's just like you become part of a club, right? They pretty much make it so like you're now part of that club. So I think that's a really cool tradition. They also do what's called the par 3 contest, which is on Wednesday before the tournament. So apparently no one has ever won both of them, right, in the same year. So, and Andrew, you said you're going to be, I know we're going to talk a little bit more about you attending the tournament this year, but this is one of the events you'll be attending.
Yeah, I'm going there Wednesday. First time I've been since I was like 15 years old. And very excited about the par 3 contest. It's really cool. It's all family focused. So you can pull it up on the Masters app on Wednesday and just watch all day long. It's very cool to get in the Masters mood. But the kids will all be in little caddy shaws out there, and it's really just a lot of fun, and they'll pull people out of the crowd to play. And now if you go to any golf course, really any resort golf course, they have a par 3 course. So this is a more common thing nowadays. Masters been doing it for a while, but now you see almost every golf course, whether it's Pinehurst or Bandon or wherever you may go, that has this par 3. So it's pretty cool.
That's my kind of course because I cannot drive at all. So, but I also probably would do terrible at this course.
Yeah.
You can bring your wife and kids along. They'll help.
Yeah. The real
I'll let
interesting,
you go ahead.
the real interesting part is sometimes for people who are getting real serious about the tournament, they really think they can win, then they will intentionally just hit the ball in the water over and over again in the last hole just to make sure they don't lose. Or some of them will even skip the par three. Like if they don't have family, they'll just skip it and go do their practice round all day Wednesday. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
They're worried about the stigma, right, of winning both, so they just lose on purpose in the par three.
Absolutely.
It's like the Madden cover curse or whatever.
Oh yeah,
That's right.
The last part was the Thursday starters. So Andrew, you want to talk about what that is?
Yeah, so I'm not sure how long it's been going on for, but it used to be Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, and Gary Player Thursday morning as soon as the sun rises. So like 6:30, 7 a.m. They'll tee off on the front tees of number one and just hit a drive into the fairway, and they'll announce them as previous champions. And since Arnold's passed away, Arnold's now been replaced with Tom Watson, who's also a very, very historical, great golfer. And it's people will just surround the tee box like 1,000 people just to see a old man hit a club about 150 yards and hopefully make it to the fairway. But it is awesome. Yeah.
And it's crazy because like someday that's going to be like Tiger and Phil, like a couple of these other like legendary golfers that are going to be replacing those guys, I'm sure, in the next however many years.